Welcome to another episode of the Tracy Gold Show. And today we are talking about what it means to step into your power and how that can change the world. I know it sounds like a big topic, but we have an amazing guest to speak to us about that. And this is Dawn Gallagher. So, Dawn, it looks like you have joined. Okay, so is there a button that you can click that says request to join? Okay, there we go, telling me starting the video. Okay, just a second. We are having some fun technical difficulties. So Dawn, I'm sending it one. So just click on it if you receive it. Yay!
Oh my God. What the heck? Okay, I think
I'm Dawn. I know.
I
Isn't
think I'm
technology
finally
wonderful?
on. Ladies,
I
I'm
know.
so sorry.
That's okay. That's
Technical
okay.
technical difficulties all the
We just
time.
love it. We
We
just
just
love it.
love it. But we roll with it. This is how
We
we roll.
do
This
because we're good at stepping into our power, right?
Yes, we are. So we always roll with it. So
I
yeah,
know.
and I'm sorry that there was some glitches, but I am ready to roll with this amazing interview we have today.
That's
Um,
awesome.
so you had asked me my story, right?
Yes, I want to
And
know your story, Dawn. So tell us your story.
yeah, so again, I was saying that I literally went from rags to riches. It was a complete Cinderella story. I
Wow.
was living, I was 16 years old. I was living in Buffalo. Um, come from a family of 10, so you know what that's like. It's a struggle to pay for kids' schooling and pay for kids' clothing, and so
Yeah.
I literally was wearing hand-me-downs from like my older sister, and just really trying to struggle to figure out how I was even going to go to college.
Wow.
And so I was walking down the street and a photographer approached me. I was in flip-flops and a t-shirt and just really, kind of hanging out. And a photographer said, "I think you could be a model." And I looked around. I was like, "Is he talking to me?" And like, this is crazy. I looked around and I was like, "Are you talking to me?" And he goes, "Yeah, I think you have the potential. You have the height. You have, And I was like, "I'm not interested," because I didn't know who he was, and I was like, "Who
Mm.
is this stranger?" So he gave me his card and he said, "If you're ever interested, just give me a call."
Yeah.
So I forgot about it. A week later, I was just flipping through the newspaper. Yeah, it was maybe a month later, and his name came up saying he was this world famous photographer that scouts all over the world, and he had just happened to be in Buffalo. And
Wow.
and then 2 months later, we called him. He took some photos of me, and next thing you know, I was in New York wearing stilettos and Valentino. So I'm
Wow,
actually writing
Dawn, from like
yeah,
hand-me-downs to Valentino.
yeah. So I'm actually writing a book called Flip Flops to Stilettos. I mean, and it,
Wow.
it really was a really interesting way for me to see the world. I was
Mm.
all in because at first I was like, oh, how can I do this? And I don't have any, why me? I mean, because I was so self-conscious. I was
Yes.
very shy at that age. I was really tall and lanky, and I had been bullied and made fun of because of sort of my height and my just the way I looked. I mean, I just did not think I had the
Wow.
potential at all. But what
Wow.
happened was I ended up going to New York. I said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to at least go and see what it's like. I had $50 in my pocket.
Wow.
And I went to New York, and this is what I want. One of the themes of this show today is about how to take risks and empower yourself no matter what.
Yeah.
So even though you think, oh, how am I going to be able to do this? Or how, this seems overwhelming, or, moving completely your life to a new city, to new people, to new friends. Sometimes we have to take the risk.
Yeah.
I mean,
Don't I know all about that, Dawn?
I know you know about it. You moved from South Africa, and the same thing. It's like you moved your
Yeah.
entire life.
Yes.
But sometimes we have to do that and no guts, no glory.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to, and sometimes it might not work out.
Yeah.
But you know
That's
what?
very
At
true.
least we tried. At least we took the chance on something that could be fabulous
So
and continue
Dawn,
our life.
I wanna delve into a
Yeah.
little bit around, first of all, so you're a young girl, you're from Buffalo, you're a family of 10, and suddenly you're this amazing, phenomenal look of the year. You're the flavor of the decade almost. How did you handle that internally?
I always had a pretty solid foundation with my family. And
Mm,
so, internally, it was, I didn't want it to get to my head. I didn't want
mm,
to think, okay, now I'm all that in a bag of chips,
mm.
because that's something very easy that could happen very easily at a very young age.
Yes.
I wanted to, I always had this sort of mission when I was younger that I wanted to do something with my life that was special and different, and
Mm,
give to others, to give back to others, to
mm,
to really empower the marginalized and the disenfranchised, because I had grown up in a neighborhood that had a lot of poverty and a lot of struggle. And
mm,
so I thought, this is really my mission to travel and to maybe make something of myself, that could
mm,
be very empowering to other people,
mm.
because a lot of people don't have the means to do things, and so they get stuck. But what I'm saying is that, if you open your mind and you keep your head, because a lot of the models that came to New York during that time started, doing drugs and dabbling in other, and I just never went there. I was like,
Mm,
nope, I'm not going to let this ruin my life. I
mm.
use the industry instead of it using me. Um,
That's that's
do you see what
wow.
I mean?
Let's
So
just let's just
I'm
wait.
going to go to
Let's
better
just
light.
hold. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that is amazing because
right,
you knew that this was going to be an opportunity for you to do some good. You
right.
knew that this was going to take you somewhere. You may not have felt completely competent,
Hmm.
or like you were the most you weren't that experienced in the beginning. Of course later, many years, I mean 300 and something covers later, but in the
Yeah.
beginning, but you knew that this was going to be powerful for you, and you were grounded in your desire to help others, and so there was no space and time for that kind of stuff, right? There
No,
was just a
there was,
focus.
yeah, it was just complete focus, because, and somebody just sent me a couple of hearts, which was, I just love
Oh,
getting those little sweethearts. Um, for me, I knew that I can go two paths. And
yes.
one was the path of party, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And the other path
Yeah.
was, focus. Just take advantage of this
Yes.
incredible opportunity,
Yeah.
um, travel the world, the money was really good. What opportunity is better than that? And then,
Yeah.
you know, uh, shooting fabulous pictures. And then, to me, it's an art form to shoot photos and to create video or commercials. It's all art. And so
Yes.
I was like, this is a fabulous opportunity. Heck no, I'm
Mm.
not going to screw this up by
I
going,
love that, Dawn. I love that.
to the wayside. I'm gonna just really show up. I was very professional. Like I said, I had, a really good upbringing, in the sense that, you want something, you go after it. And
Mm.
if you really want something bad enough, you'll figure out a way to get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And if you get the opportunity and you get the blessing that you get something wonderful in life, don't screw it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't do things that can hurt yourself and others. And
Yeah.
so that's always why I was able to be, I think, as successful as I was,
Mm.
because I really focused and
Yeah.
focused on my goals and my visions. And now there was a lot of, I had some struggle with some self-esteem issues,
Mm.
which, I'm sure, and that's another thing I want to talk about. We all struggle with these self-esteem issues, and are we good enough? Can we do
Yes.
this? But again, I believe that you have to take the risk, and even though you might think, oh my God, they're gonna maybe not like me or hate me, you have to at least try. And so that's my biggest message. Yeah.
Dawn, what I find so interesting out of the many women that I've spoken to, and also, I mean, Dawn and I are friends, so we've
Yeah.
we've shared a lot,
Cool.
lot of stories, a lot of wine, Dawn,
Yeah.
and telling our stories and sharing with each other. And one of the things that I really love about this conversation is often
I'm
the
giving kisses.
opportunity.
I'm giving
Oh,
kisses. People are giving me love. So
it's so
I love you.
wonderful.
I
It's
know.
wonderful.
I'm sorry, Tracy. Go ahead.
That's okay. So one of the things that comes up in the discussion is, often those opportunities that come to us often feel just out of our grasp, or just out of our reach, or just out of our ability. And that's what I love about the topic for today, stepping into your power, because sometimes stepping into your power is about stepping outside of that comfort zone and trusting that when you get there, and if the opportunity has come, it's because you're able to cope with it, and you will receive whatever you need to fulfill that, right?
Right. Right. And I also believe that sometimes it's a timing thing.
Yes.
So an opportunity might come along and we're all psyched about it and we're like, this
Yes.
is our ticket to paradise and, or
And we
whatever
know
it
that.
is,
Yeah.
and it's all going to be fabulous. And then something happens like COVID or
Yes.
something happens. But it doesn't mean that it's over.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that it's going to circle back and come back to you. Because a lot of people will say, I'm giving up because this opportunity came along and it didn't work out. So, but it doesn't mean, like, never give up,
Yes.
never burn your bridges, never, because you never know. This opportunity might come along again and, even be better than ever.
Yeah.
Better
Yeah.
than ever, a better deal than you got the original one, a
Yeah.
better situation. So I always say, whatever comes your way, if it doesn't work out the way you wanted it to or the way you envisioned it, it could still work out, but better than ever. Just let
Yes.
the God, universe, spirit take you. Because I always say this or something better for
Yes.
the highest good of all concerned. We need to always say that, this or something better for the
This or
highest good
something
of all
better.
concerned. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dawn, let's talk about because for you it's very linked. There's this thing of stepping into your power, and then how stepping into your power enables you to change the world. How do you see that connection?
How stepping into our power changes the world. Yeah. So,
Yes.
I look at some of my mentors in life,
Mm.
like the Grace Kellys of the world.
Mm.
And, and I think we talked a little bit about how Grace Kelly, she used her platform for good. So
Yes.
she was this famous actress and she was, beautiful, and she married a prince, but she was able to stop a war
Yes.
because she used her. So what I'm saying is stepping into your power is when you have that spark inside of you that says, I don't care what the outside world is looking like. I don't care what the outside world is telling me, all the negativity.
Mm.
I know what's the truth, and I know what's good, and I'm going to take the risk to change it to a better world.
Mm.
So if I'm making sense. So it's not about, because we really start buying into all the negativity outside of us. The media tells us certain things that doesn't mean it's the truth. Just
Yeah.
because the media is saying this is going on or that, we don't know the full story.
Yeah.
And so what I loved about Grace Kelly, that she's just an example, she stepped into her power and said,
Mm.
even though it looks like a war is going to happen, I can change that. I
Yeah.
can step into my power as a woman and try to negotiate and try to, and I think that's really important. I think we as women, especially, have to stop depending on other people and depending and waiting for our prince or waiting for the knight in shining
Mm,
or waiting for that particular job or waiting for, they call it waiting for Godot. There was a very famous
yes.
play, Waiting for Godot, where,
Mm,
if only this happens, everything's going to be great. And only if this
mm,
happens. But that's not the truth.
mm,
We can always, we don't have to wait for anything. You want something, go get it,
yeah.
go. And that's stepping into your power.
I think
Mhm.
that's very powerful, Dawn, because I think especially right now in the US, there's a lot of talk around inequality for women, inequality for people of color, inequality for LGBTQ communities, um, for our Asian community. And while I think all of that is really good, we need to have those conversations. At the same time, I feel like the danger is for us to sit back and wait for the government to sort it out or
Yeah.
wait for the systems to be created. Well, what if we decide as women, well, I want to earn equally to my male counterparts. So I'm going to ask for what my
Ask.
male counterparts are. I'm going
Yeah.
to ask, and I'm going to negotiate my rate or my salary or my, because often we can sort of sit back and wait for things to happen, or we can step into our power and say, wait, if my colleagues are being paid 30% more than me, why is that? And what can I do to solve that? Or if the opportunities are not coming, one of the things I'm seeing so many women do that they're doing really well is to create their own businesses,
They
create
create it.
their own
Mhm.
opportunities, to
Right.
say, well, I'm not going to wait for everybody, this organization to come to me or this industry to wake up to this new trend. I'm going to create it for myself.
Absolutely. And I agree with you 100%. Why are we waiting around for systems that have been in place for a long time and trying to fight them? Create new ones.
Yes,
There's a very famous saying. It's like you cannot fight a system with the same energy that created it in the first place.
yes,
Build a new system which will render the old system obsolete.
yes.
So, and I always love that saying because it's like, yeah, let's just create new, and that's why I'm really into some of these cryptocurrencies right now that are like a Cardano,
Mm,
which is the one that's completely trying to rebuild Africa. He said,
mm,
I'm not going to fight the old system. I'm just going to build a whole new one.
mm.
I'm just going to
So,
create
Dawn,
a new system. Yeah. Hmm.
so give me an example in your life, in your personal walk and journey, where there has been a, something that you've really wanted to do, but there isn't the system to help you do that. There isn't the system to support that. And you created your own, you just went out and did it anyway, or you created your own way of doing things.
Right, right. Well, I always say I made roaches into riches. Because when I first came to New York, I was living in, we called it the Roach Motel
Oh,
because it had so many cockroaches. And here I'm
oh
living, and
no.
I'm like, here I'm supposed to be this like glamorous model. What the hell is going on here? I'm living with
Wow.
roaches.
Yes.
And so here's a system. So I'm living in this place. The agency was saying, this is what we can afford to give you. And this is one example. I have so many, but
Oh, I know you do.
and so I'm living in this situation, and I'm like, this is not right, and this is not healthy for me, and this is not why I came here. So I marched into the agency, and I said, I deserve to live in a better place, or I'm going home. So either
Mm,
you find me if you want me to be here and you want me to work here, then you find me a better place and a place that's decent and a place that is safe and healthy, or I'm going home and I'm not going to work for you, or I'll find another person to work for who
yes.
will treat me better. Now I could have just stayed at that Roach Motel and just suffered and went, well, this is just the way it is. Oh
Yes.
well, but no, I walked in and I said, I deserve better. I
Yes.
deserve better than this, and this is not happening. So and you have to embody that I deserve, because it's
Mm,
one thing to just kind of, just say it or mouth it, but there's another, you have to embody it. It has to be in your bones and your cells to really
mm,
believe it. And I believe that, and I still believe I deserve you know, in life, what if I put out goodness and gracious and grace, that will come back to me, and I
Mm,
embody it. It is
mm,
in my, it's in my way of being. And
mm.
so, you know, that's an example of, if you want something, you have to speak up, because
Yeah.
the people at the agency would not have known that I was not happy if I didn't say anything. They wouldn't have
Mm,
known. I mean, they would have just gone their merry way and taken advantage
sure.
and, you know,
Sure.
didn't, but, you know, and that's when it comes to getting a raise. That's when it comes to, you know, signing a contract. You know, just make sure you're standing, you're not trying to, like, you know, hurt anybody, or you're just trying to be fair. You want to be
Mm,
fair in your way of being, and you expecting the other person to be fair back
yeah.
to you, so that
Yeah.
it's a
So
win.
Dawn,
Always look for win-wins, always. Yeah.
did you get to move out of Roach Motel then?
I got to move out of Roach Motel, and, you know, because I stood up for myself, everything got better. So I
Yeah.
went to a better apartment. I was happier. So when you're happier, you
Mm,
create magic.
yes.
You know, the place was better. I started getting better jobs, because I said, you know, I really want to work with people who really honor and respect, you know, what I do, and I don't want to work with people who are cheap or chintzy, or, you know, I want to work with, you know, really high quality people. I kind of set the ground rules, and I still do that
Mm,
in life. I mean, you know,
mm,
if you talk to my manager, I'm
mm,
like, I won't do this, I won't do that, I won't, you know,
mm.
I really want to work with people who are in the same vibrational energy as me, that
Yes.
respect my work, and I respect them, and it's a win-win. It's a
Yeah.
win-win for both of us.
Yeah.
So, and it's not always perfect. We're going to run into snafus. We're going to run into difficult people. We're going to run, I'm sure you've ran into difficult people
Sure. Yeah,
when it's come to
absolutely.
contracts and all that.
Yeah.
But, you know, hold your ground,
Mm,
and you will be supported. You'll be supported by the universe or whatever,
yeah.
because it's an inside job, whether it's
Mm,
beauty or confidence or self-esteem. It starts with you. It's
mm,
not outside of you. Everybody makes this mistake thinking it's something outside of them that's going to
mm.
change this and change that. No, you change you first. First, it starts with you. You change you. Everything else outside of you will start to change.
Yes.
Because once you start honoring yourself, once you start seeing yourself as sacred, you are a sacred being. You are a spiritual being living a human experience. You are divine. So once you start really embodying that and seeing that, your world will change.
Mm,
Um, you know, I on my Instagram, I talk a lot about women as they age, they get more powerful. And I believe that I am more powerful, more in tuned than I ever was when I
yes.
was younger. I mean,
Yes.
now I really feel that I am much more powerful as I'm coming into my you know, my elderly years, my years as a woman of a certain age. I'm so much more magical and powerful. I call the
Yeah.
shots. I call the, you know, the numbers. The numbers don't shape me. I shape the numbers.
Yeah.
And again,
Dawn.
it's these beliefs. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What I love about so let's talk about the part where it changes the world,
Yeah,
because what I have found with women, and what I see in other women and what I see in my own life, is that the more we come into our own selves, the more we become more grounded in who we are, which
yeah,
is the benefit of getting older, right? Because as we go, as we get on in years, we're like, oh, we're less worried about what other people think.
yeah.
We're more solid. We're more real with ourselves. Like, let's just cut the BS and let's get down to it.
Mhm.
So how can that change our world, and both in small ways and big ways? You were a supermodel, so your ability to change the world would be huge in comparison to maybe somebody who has a different life to you. So how do we change the world by stepping into our power?
Well, I believe that it doesn't matter where you come from, your background, your race, your age, or whatever, you can still change the world. And you are very, very, very powerful. You just have to start believing that and realizing that. And how you change the world. And it could just be one small little act, or, because people feel like, oh, I'm just one person. What can I do? Or I don't have the means. What can I do? Well, there's a lot you can do to change things. You can switch banks and go to banks that are greener and cleaner. You can, I'm really interested in like ocean preservation right now. So the way I'm stepping into my power is working with all these kelp farmers that are creating rainforests under the water that are grabbing pollution and carbon out of the air. That's a huge movement right now. There's people who all over the world are planting trees, and they're like, well, does this do anything? Heck yeah, it does a lot.
It does a lot.
You plant one tree, that's sucking, pollution out of the air. It's giving you the air you breathe. So yeah, I think when you step into your power, and the stepping into your power is when you finally say, I make a difference. I can make a difference. And it doesn't matter where I'm from, how much money I have in my bank account, what I look like, my height, my hair color. None of that matters. None of that matters. What matters is when you embody and embrace the fact that you are very, very powerful, and that you can make a difference just by believing that, and then stepping into your power by doing some small acts. Plant a tree. It doesn't have to be this major, colossal, I just stopped a war, and we were talking about Grace Kelly. It doesn't have to be that. When I say change the world, it doesn't have to be this monumental, I just did this huge thing. It could be just these very small tasks, becoming a big brother or a big sister to a child who is in an environment that maybe is not the best or safest, and you mentor them. And that child turns out to, get a degree, and then, gets this fabulous job in technology that is changing, pollution in the ocean. I mean, we don't know, but we have to empower ourselves enough to take these risks and try.
Yes.
And go for it, go for it.
And what I find, Dawn, is that when I'm more grounded in who I am, and I'm living my best self, it makes me far more generous. It makes me want to give of my time to invest into other people's lives, and to do that kind of thing. And even if it's within your own family, you can bring up amazing children to go on to have generations worth of lessons that you taught your child that can go forward. And if ever we doubt that one person can make a difference, I just want to remind you of Mandela.
Yes.
In South Africa. Mother Teresa,
Oh, we can go on and on.
There are just, we could carry on. We could probably go for an hour nonstop, just
Gandhi.
mentioning the one person that made a difference in the world. And sometimes, and often, these people did not come from, I know Mandela did not come from wealth. He did not come from greatness, but he became somebody who we all admired and are so grateful to have had as a leader in South Africa. It changed the trajectory of the country. And I think it's just very powerful. And so maybe, as women, we can look into ourselves and become more of who we are, and then reach out and help other women to do the same. And then that just spreads.
It spreads out. Yeah. Once you tap into your light, you encourage others to tap into theirs. And, look at Mother Teresa. These are people who, everybody said, you can't do this. How are you going to change, the mindset of blah, and they just do it. They just tune out all the naysayers, and they just do it. They're just like, Mandela was imprisoned. He was, they terrible things happened to Mandela, but he just stuck to his mission. And again, we don't have to be the Mandelas. We don't have to be the Martin Luther Kings or the Mother Teresas, but we can do things in our own lives that make a difference. Like I said, start a tree planting mission, join groups that are going to beaches and cleaning up the beaches and picking up the plastic. There is so many things that you can do. to change the world and make the world a better place. And as much as we think we're in this bad state and all that, we are actually in a much better. I'm so optimistic and positive about the future of the world. I'm just very excited. I mean, there's so many, the technologies that are coming out right now, that's
oh,
so
it's amazing.
exciting.
Incredible.
I mean, just a few years ago, I mean, we didn't know what a cell phone was. I mean, look how fast now it's, now we've got all this I mean, the fact that I can talk to you on a phone in my living room and have these conversations. Could we do this 10, 12, 15 years ago? No,
definitely not.
So just think of all the stuff that's coming out, all the beautiful technologies, I believe there's going to be no more poverty. I believe that cryptocurrency is the new future, and it's the dollar is bye-bye. The fiat dollar. I believe that cryptocurrency will change the playing field and, make even people who have not been able to get bank account. I mean, it's going to change everything. It's so exciting, this stuff. I know I'm sounding like I'm buzzing with joy, because it is so exciting, the things that are coming out and the things that are, and it's speeding up. I don't know if you've noticed the speed in which things are changing and happening. And
absolutely, it's incredible.
Yeah, and we're looking around and we're listening to the news, and yes, there's been a lot of things that have happened, but sometimes you have to kick up some dust in order to make the change. And I think we've kicked up a lot of dust in 2020.
Yes, I think we did.
29, and kicked up dust, so where we all go, okay, now that the dust is settling, holy crap, we got to change some things. We've got to create new systems. We got to put new things into place. So I believe that a lot of that's what's going on. It's the dust is now settling. And I think the 2020 made us all kind of sit back and reflect. I think we needed that, don't you? We needed to kind of.
I do. I think we needed to relook at. I think we needed to look at what was important and reprioritize and have those difficult conversations and open our eyes to what's really going on, as opposed to what we thought was going on. So, but Dawn, we could talk all day, and I just want to, be aware of your time, and thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. And I hope that it inspires all the people who are watching, both in the live and replay. And if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments. Just tag Dawn and I, and we will gladly answer for you. And that's my cat.
I love listening to Jazzy. Where's Jazzy?
That's actually Sai, Dawn.
That's Sai? Oh.
Man, he's a little Siamese, but he's got a big mouth when he wants something. Woo! He's unbelievable. Anyway, so for those of you who are new to the Tracy Gold Show, feel free to follow us and hit that notification button so you get notified when I go live Tuesday to Friday, 1 p.m. EDT time. Thanks so much, Dawn. Have a wonderful weekend.
Stay blessed. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.